Live, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Caucus Challenge recap. We got a start. We got some people in the house today. Cam joins us, Steven joins us, Steve-O joins us. We got some questions, y'all, because we kind of was talking offline, and I gotta say, it's a lot going on here, and it can get a bit confusing. You got three things coming up over here. Nadia will be joining in a little bit later. Becky, how you doing this evening?
I am confused and need clarification
Yeah,
because this episode was chaotic, and I was like, I can't follow. There's just too many
it's too much going on.
people talking.
Too
I
much
don't know what's going on.
Cam, welcome. Sibo, Steve, welcome. Let's go ahead and do our introduction.
Are you gonna just ignore her and not acknowledge?
Oh, I'm sorry, Choice. You the homie. I'm not saying Choice. I can't forget because it's like three and y'all two in the same room. I do.
He's like Cam, Skip, Steve.
I'm sorry. I do.
You just miss her sitting right next to Cam.
You know what I'm saying? Right next to Cam. My ass is getting bad, y'all. Forgive me. So, how y'all doing this evening?
Wow.
Doing good.
Yeah, doing awesome.
But ready to recap. But I don't know. I don't even have words for it.
Okay, the only thing that I'm gonna kind of recommend for Choice and Cam is to get a little bit closer. You're a bit distant. It's kind of hard to hear you.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna need y'all to talk your shit, and I'm gonna need you to use your outside voices over here.
So we gotta which is fine, you know. So phrase that pays is the challenge for today. And I gotta say, this was actually interesting. There's a lot going on. You got math equations, you got somebody searching for letters to form a word. What's going through y'all minds at this point? Because you got people yelling out numbers, you got to figure out what this meaning is, or this word, that this phrase to get paid. So what's going through y'all mind during this episode, or during this time when, as y'all was going through it technically? Anybody?
Don't everybody jump in at once.
Yeah, don't.
Well, all right. So I was in the math portion, so I made sure to do math just because I'm an actuary and I'm a huge lover of math. So I was like, when I heard there was a math part, I was like, yeah, put me on there. Even though I could run, I was like, I'd probably be better off there. And originally, when we first started, we didn't really have a strategy. We were just looking at
we could tell.
Yeah, we were just looking at the sheets of paper, solving them in order, and then just relaying it to everyone else, which was working fine because if we did that, we still would have gotten it done in under the 15 minutes. But then I forgot who it was, but somebody else threw out a strategy of like going for specific letters, and I don't think we really knew who was doing what letters, and I think that caused some confusion. I think the first strategy of just going from the top to the bottom probably would have worked just fine and been more organized. But it also helped us get to a bunch of number combinations all at once for certain letters, because we realized that like E was like 3 different numbers, or like I was like 2 or 3 different numbers. So what we were able to do is have certain people go to certain letters and figure out what all those numbers were. And then we like split it up to some people, because you probably heard like, O is 65 and 70. So at least we were able to get 2 numbers in one that way. And so that helped make it a little more organized. There was one thing that I think did mess some people up, where somebody called out an incorrect answer to one of the letters, and I think that screwed everything up. I don't remember who it was, but that
she's just like, I know who did it.
Who did it? Talk to me. Who did it?
Wasn't the strategy to like go from top to bottom, but we ended up seeing like the numbers up?
We can't hear you.
You need you a little bit louder, Choice.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Y'all not hear me like at all?
Okay, now I hear you there.
Just a little bit closer. Let's use the voice you use when you're You need
Yeah,
somebody across the room to hear you.
Like, hey girl, be like, hey girl, what's up?
Oh,
No,
that way.
yeah, just-
You're like, bitch, I got something to tell you.
Oh, I was
That's
gonna say that. But Steven, didn't we like split up the numbers and like the letters based on like this group is gonna do this group is gonna do that? And I do know who messed up the equation, but we're gonna keep that
Okay, yeah. I think you're right. I think we did have a little bit of a strategy going into it. I think it was like these three. Oh, right, guys, because I think Clay and I felt the most confident with it, knowing that like both of us did really well in season 17 for those for that challenge.
Is it the same board from 17? Was that the same board?
I think it was the same board. So him and I took, I think, one section, and then because there were 8 people on it, so him and I took one section, and then there was 3 people out of the other 6 who took one section, and 3 people out of the other 6 who took one section.
now I gotta call out production here, because I understand that there's only so many math equations and so many numbers and so many letters in the alphabet, but there should not have been a point where you said O is 68 and 5. There should be no reason that should have been doubled.
And I to confuse us, which it did.
Which I get at the same time, but that's not how you do it. Like it's almost like it's purposeful. But and I was like, I got to call them out on that, because I don't think that was a fair way of doing it. I mean, there are enough letters and different math equations and numbers in the alphabet. I'm sorry, numbers in general, not on numbers in the alphabet. God damn, it's late. But my brain's not working all the way right now, guys. But that they shouldn't have been doubles or triples, as you guys said. There was one that was tripled. So that I don't think would have been fair. And if you guys would have lost that, I would have been very upset, because that would have been probably the main reason why. Because with people who are, especially with the fact that you guys get to choose the people who get to do it, obviously I'm not going to do math. I need a calculator to do basic math. Get away from me. I don't want to do that. Make me run. Make me dig through sand. I'm totally cool with
Jordan was saying.
Totally good with that.
I'm running. I'm saying, yeah, y'all do math. I'm gonna run, get the letters, do whatever. So,
and you guys had to do that in your head, I'm guessing. Did you guys get paper?
Yeah, we had to do it in our head. Yeah.
Oh no. Oh
But
no, honey.
Math. It wasn't anything.
Yeah, it was just like 2 numbers, like add, subtract, multiply, divide. No more than double digit times like single digit, or double digit plus double digit. Like that was really
okay.
So it wasn't too bad, but there were still some that were a little tricky, but it was generally not terrible. It was more so like, I guess, the strategy and having a few people who knew math pretty well. You could probably like figure something out.
Yeah, just put it all together.
Yeah, it was
not going to me.
I
wouldn't be the one.
Yeah, it was not that it was hard to do. It was that, can you do it fast? That was the real challenge.
Yeah, to me, it was just a lot of confusion, a lot of numbers, and a lot of letters. And I think, was it Nadia who was like, wait, I have no idea what even letter anybody's calling out, because it's so many times when you guys are all calling it out and you don't even know.
Yeah.
Did that person take T, or am I taking I?
And then
it was too many.
She was trying to find A, and then she was like, "Where's the A?" And she couldn't find the A, and I'm like, "Where did the A go?" I know somebody picked it up because she was.
Yeah.
The A was already gone when she was looking for the A. What were you saying, Cam?
I was just saying, like, when the people doing the first part, when they were shouting out the numbers, it was too many like people talking at once. So by the time we got a number and we got to the letter that we needed, we would have got there and we were like, okay, damn, we got to go back and turn around. I know I turned around a few times because I was so confused. I was like, dang, is it supposed to be 88 or is it 68? So it was just really confusing with too many.
Yeah, we realized that after a few minutes, and then we started taking turns. We were like, all right, left to right, like line up on the porch and then like say a letter. Like I remember I saw in the episode that I said I is 82, and then I think that was to Amir maybe, and then he ran back and was like, I is 82, I is 82. No one went to go grab the I. They started talking about T being 88, and then like that completely got lost in translation. So I saw that definitely screwed them up too.
But then
Yeah, it was a
also
lot.
when people also coming to us who are doing the puzzles and they were handing us the letters, you see there are some of them that'll give us a letter, be like, it's either like let's say 18 or 32. But then we had to then figure out which one it went to. That's why for a lot of times you do see us putting the letters on the table itself just to try figuring it out and make it make sense.
But there was no way for us to know that. For the people doing math, we were just giving out the numbers.
Right. Like we were all on the opposite sides of the house. You guys were on one side, then down, then we were all on the back side.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could see where the runners are going for the plates, the letters. So you could see them off in the distance because when they would do shots from the point of view shots from the people who are doing the math, but you couldn't see where the board was. So that obviously was too far away, and it's a good thing because then they couldn't hear what other people were saying, like the number wise. So I guess it helps avoid possible cheating.
Yeah.
For the phrase, they figured it out. We just heard a bunch of yelling. We couldn't hear what they were saying.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously you guys are tired. So what was the strategy to remember? I mean, obviously it's not you because you were doing the numbers, but Cam, you were grabbing the numbers and giving it to. So you grabbed the tile and then you ran to the people doing the puzzle?
Yeah, so I was on the second portion where we call out the number and then we ran to go get the number. My strategy was to like make sure I heard the correct number for the letter so I can remember it and bring it to the next person. So that's really just what it was. Just remember what number they put with that letter and you ran to.
How far did you have to run?
Ooh. It didn't seem like a long run, but around that pond, that was a long run, y'all. Like
it would seem like a 100.
Yeah, it was like a little 100, but it was still long. Cause not only that, you're running to the top, then you're running to the bottom. Then you gotta go and give another run because you gotta give the number that you got for the letter. You gotta give it to the next station. So honestly, we're like running back and forth the whole little halfway.
And it would be easy, but there's a lot of dips in that grass.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Like, those dips. I was scared I was gonna break my ankle. Not gonna lie.
Go in the wrong place and go dip dip. But no, it definitely looked. I think it looked easier, but I know how hard that is because not only are you running, so it's hot as hell. It's not like you guys have water, so you guys are trying to maintain your breath while remembering a number, remembering multiple numbers, remembering your letter.
Right.
And then having to run back and do it all over again. You know, you can't give yourself a 5-minute break to breathe. It's like you go, 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 go.
Stop running. We was walking. We was tired. We was like, girl. We just need to walk it out just a little bit, catch our breath. But for a minute,
y'all need some camelbacks, like
water break. I'd have been like, "What the water at?" No, it'd be like, "What water at, y'all?"
Somebody handing you guys off water, like you're in a marathon.
Yeah, so it's definitely interesting. When y'all solve this problem, Steve-O, did you solve this, or how did this thing get solved?
So once we started getting a lot more pieces, like I normally play like Wordle and like word puzzles and stuff daily. So like you see clips where I'm just standing there trying to like put the words together, trying to figure it out. And we're just missing like key letters to certain words. And then once we started getting the gist of it, like I told Kaylani, I was like, I think this is it. And then we just started like running down the hill saying, this is it. Like these are like the letters that we needed left. So like it was kind of like just like process of, okay, this is what words can we make out of these letters that are left, and what words will fit to make it make sense. Like our whole team, I feel like we all did a good job at that point. Like once we figured out what letters we needed, we just ran halfway and told them, we need Q, we need this, we need this, we need 2 C's. So like, I don't know, like once I told it to Kaylani, that's like when we pretty much put 2 and 2 together and people started figuring out what letters we needed still.
The confusion over the Q and the U. I was like, I kept yelling at the screen, not you, you guys, you.
And then like when they had the 2 T's there for the word don't, I was like, that's not a real word. It can't be something TT.
Right.
Yeah, it was like dot with 2 T's.
Yeah, no, like that makes no sense whatsoever.
I thought it was gonna be doth. I was like, what are we going Shakespeare over here?
Right.
Like,
So,
but okay.
once this thing gets solved, practice like champions, don't quit. That was the saying that was solved. After everything got solved and whatnot, then we go off into the talking. Stephen, I did hear you say Xavier. How did Xavier name come into play? Because I was like, I'm hearing the different names. I'm hearing Clay was saying Devontae, and I can't remember who the other person Jordan. And then I hear you talk about Xavier. How did Xavier come about in your mouth? Because I was trying to figure, where did that come from?
Yeah. So I remember this was a whole thing between Xavier, Sivo, and I. And I just looked back. I don't know if there were other people in the conversation in addition to these people, but I saw that the conversation that I did hear it in involved, I believe, Sivo, Jordan, and Jordan, and maybe some others. And I heard them say either that they heard Xavier or that they were considering Xavier. And I told them that I didn't want to do Xavier. And then that's when I suggested maybe Zay. And then they shut down Zay. And that's when you saw that on the episode. And then I went to another conversation and told them, and it also showed on the episode, me saying that I heard Xavier's name, but I don't want to do Xavier because I wanted to be able to talk about another guy to do. Because at this point in the game, my number 1 is Jason. My number 2 is Xavier in terms of the guys. So I did not want Xavier to go home because Xavier and I on a previous, on another LRG were number 1s. So I wanted to protect him as best I could. So when I heard his name going around, I didn't know if it was actually going to be the vote, but that was the only name I heard out of the guys. So that's when I went into the try to get Clay in mode because I wanted to make sure that Xavier was not getting thrown in.
Choice looks like she's got something to say.
Don't say it, girl. Say it, girl. Come on
Her
now.
face is emoting. I got something to talk about right here.
Girl, spill it.
Like, y'all know my social game. I'm working on my social game. Can y'all hear me? Do I need to yell a little bit more?
Yeah, you're good.
So I'm working on my social game, right? So hearing the different alliances and all the secret alliances, the season 17, the boys alliance, the girls, and it's just like, y'all are really not that girl. Like, y'all are not the core 8. And just seeing certain people work with certain people, it's just like, this is really entertaining. Like, I never trust anyone. I don't trust anyone besides Kim. So working with other people outside of that and just seeing how they interact with other people, it was very entertaining. And I'm loving to see how it unfolds because you only see so much just being yourself and then how the eliminations go. So I'm excited to see how this is all going to unfold, especially you saying that Xavier is your number 2. I'm excited to see how this goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but now, can I say, just to piggyback off what Steven was saying, apparently when he went over there, Xavier said, "Who was saying my name?" And then I think that's when you said, or something, like, I don't know if they showed it, but you said, "I don't know, just someone over there." And he's like, was it Sivo? You didn't confirm or deny it, but you said it was from that group over there.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came up to us and said, "Did you say my name?" And I told him I didn't say your name because the name didn't come out of my mouth at that time. And then he didn't want to talk to me about it or figure anything out there. That's why he said in his confessional, I decided I'm going to bring it up during deliberation. But then after the fact, after everything goes down and everything else, there are also parts where he's like, maybe I should have spoke to you before we went into deliberation. That would have been smart. But at the same time, everyone's in the heat of the moment, trying to now cover their asses, protect themselves in that point of view. Because I met Xavier before I was even casted on the show. I met him at one of Oz's parties in Manhattan. And he was asking me like for advice and stuff about the show because he's going to be on it. He's going to be a rookie, blah, blah, blah. So I only told him things that I could give him from my perspective of what could have been happening or what would be happening. It wasn't until I was casted when I spoke with him and I told him I was casted, I was like, just so you know, I'm not going to mention your name. I won't say your name, and I'm going to give you my word on that. So I wasn't going to say his name in the deliberation, and I didn't say his name in deliberation. And I think at that point, like me and Xavier did speak about it after the fact, but like that's why I didn't say his name. And he's like, well, whose name were you going to say? I was like, well, it wasn't going to be your name. Like, and then that's why he didn't say my name after throwing that whole thing out there, because he knew I wasn't going to say his name after I told him I wasn't going to say it.
Maybe it's because I'm new and I haven't really watched any of the past seasons.
Right.
To me, it's like, dude, I didn't even see you on my screen. Like, I don't know why it's such a big deal if people are tossing around names. Like, it's not like you're doing something big. You know, I understand why people were upset about Billy getting voted in, because Billy was a huge factor in the way the game was played on that episode or during that daily. Xavier, you're a church mouse. You're over here just chilling, doing what you got to do, and I get it. You're hearing your voice, you're hearing your name out there, and you're like, oh no, I don't want to go in. But now you're starting to sound paranoid.
Right.
Now y'all talking trash on Cry Guy, and I cannot remember his name for the sake of my life. Imir. I apologize. I keep forgetting his name all the time, and it's because I feel like I'm going to mispronounce it every single time I think of it. But Imir, and like I said, there's nothing wrong with crying. It's the panic that pissed me off. I was like, oh my God, you're stressing me out. Like, calm the fuck down. Like, you need to take a pill and chill. Like, get him a drink. But like, and that's what Xavier was coming off as. I was like, dude. And then the other girl who was sitting next to him was hyping his ass up, and I was like, you need to calm your ass down too, because your name isn't even coming up. And I think that was Kalani who was yelling.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, shh.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying in terms of like, if you're hearing your name and like just trying to start talking about it and talk shit, like maybe you're just seeming a little paranoid, and that makes sense. But at the same time, if you don't know where the vote is going, like if people are not being honest with you, hey, I'm voting for you, there's a chance that like you said, kind of choice, like it's hard to truly trust everybody. So they could all be lying to you and planning to blindside you. And if you wait too long to say something, the votes are just going to start piling up. So you want to bring that up beforehand in deliberation. So if Xavier heard his name, he should have known that he had plenty of allies that he was not going to be voted in regardless. But at the same time, he could have been blindsided, and that's why he wanted to bring it up. Same with Imir, the way he was acting in episode 1. Should he have voted for Billy? No, he probably should have voted for Clay, because then Clay would have went in. But he didn't really seem too paranoid because he was the one getting votes. He did end up in the tie. So it like is valid why he was like nervous and knew he had to vote for either Clay or Billy, because those are the only two other people getting votes if he wanted to not be the first boot again.
Well, here's the thing with that. And this is just something I've noticed and observed by watching these type of shows. Being upfront and loud is like a catch-22. In some ways, it's great, you know, because you really get to put your place out.
Yeah.
Hey, girl. Welcome to the chat. But you get to put your voice out there, and you get to be seen. But at the same time, sometimes you don't want to be seen, especially when you're in such a large group. Sometimes it's better to fall back and kind of be a semi-forgotten person, you know, with, okay, if I'm not the first thing that people think of, I'm not going to be the first one they vote for. Right. So,
Follow me.
So, and that's how I would play if I was in the game. I would be very low key, and which would be really hard for me. As y'all can tell, I'm very loud and I'm very opinionated. We all know this, but that's how I would try and play it. A very low key, just focus on the game kind of play, and just observe, which Choice is actually doing. She's doing a lot of observing and not a lot of talking.
That's what she got to do. You got to
coming for me still.
Yeah, you got to, especially with
I was so quiet, and everybody kept saying my name.
Well, a portion of that wasn't it your block that dropped?
First of all, look here. The tower was already leaning, okay? It was already leaning. And I
you
took
cost
my
me a challenge, though.
They finna sit me in all the fans are gonna hate me. I said, I'm just gonna take the heat. They're gonna send me in. That's when everybody said my name, I was like, all right, hey, I'm going in. It's cool. I know I earned this spot. So hey,
A lot of times with all of the, like, what I keep seeing a lot with first votes and even sometimes second votes in deliberation for a lot of the caucus challenge seasons is people are pitching their case as why they shouldn't be voted in based on how they performed in a challenge, or that they can be a team player if it is like a team game. And while I totally understand that, like, we're on the challenge, most of us, if not all of us, are great competitors. So I feel like that shouldn't be a reason why you throw someone in or not throw someone in. It should be alliance based and who's going to have your back going forward. So, I mean, I don't know if that's what people were thinking, or like people threw you in because they weren't aligned with you, or if it was because you dropped the block. But I really don't think it was the block thing.
Well, I think dropping the block is the block is an excuse. The block's an excuse to pick somebody.
I mean, I could say this. I wasn't in an alliance with Choice, but due to how high the blocks were also, and I wasn't going to say her name because it wasn't her fault. There were still people who could have went after her that could have knocked it down. So to just blame it on her because she put her block down, it's not her fault.
I'm sorry.
Like, it could have been the person who put it down before who made it wobbly.
I'm sorry.
Like,
See,
I did yell out, like, closer to you, closer to you, and then so so I was like, oh no, Joyce. I said closer to you.
You knocked it down, so I'm putting you in. That was my
see, he's over here talking shit.
I would have put you in. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna be.
I'm voting Robert in. Sorry, Robert, you're my vote.
Hey,
Robert, you're in elimination.
Hey, it don't even matter because I'm already ready to go in, and then once I come back, it's over for you. So that's
why I was afraid to go in. I was like, okay,
because I'm like, I ain't afraid. I see what I see on the outside and the end is a lot of y'all play scared, and I'm just like,
but
the mentality's got to be you stay ready so you don't get ready. Now Nadia, I very strong competitor. I've been watching her. I'm telling you, that's the mentality you got to have. If you watch Nadia throughout this whole season, you're going to see her mentality. I've been like watching her this whole season. The little that I have seen, she's got a strong competitive mindset, and that's what I like about her. You just get it, do it, and then if you're going to stab me in the back, I'm going to stab you back in the back. So that's the mentality going into this.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Can I say, though, about Nadia? You could tell she meant business. She sat there in deliberation and yanked her nails off her fingers. She was ready.
Oh my God, I remember that. Yeah.
I always have nails on. And when I showed up, I bit each one off one by one by one. Because how else was I going to win stuff with nails on? Like, they had to go.
Right.
So
tell them, girl. Tell them.
See, I did like, because it was you who was just pulling out the letters, correct? You were just digging.
Yes, she was.
She was lining them up.
And that's actually a really smart way of doing things, because people would be digging in there versus you pulling them all out and having them laid out for people to just grab. So
I did that because at some point there was just like a lot of miscommunication and people running back and having the same numbers, and then that's the wrong thing. Like, there's no like between the 3 different stations. So at some point I was just like, I'm just going to take out all of these letters and then everybody can just come grab them and make it more efficient. At least like I'm doing something. Like, I'm not going to keep running back and forth to hear the same thing. It's wrong. I'll just do something else that's slightly productive.
No, I think it was a smart move. But what was your thoughts? I know that with everything, I know you kind of came in late, so we've heard from others, but tell us what you thought about this whole deliberation and the whole fight about Xavier thinking that people shouldn't be saying his name because he's Xavier and he's special. I don't know.
That's
just my opinion. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Xavier. No hate.
Xavier, I'd have threw you in elimination. That's just me.
I was actually really blindsided by that deliberation, like huge, because when we were all like chatting and talking, obviously nobody's gonna tell me like, oh, like I'm gonna say your name, like fine, granted. But when I was walking around like talking to people, like the only name I actually heard was Xavier, right? Like I didn't know. I also heard some of Paddock. Like I know that Paddock was also an option, all that stuff, but like no idea that we were like really on the side of like throw Nadia in. So I thought at least maybe I had like another round before I hit an elimination. No, not the case. Okay.
You're like, what did I do?
And so when we went in there, and my friend over here, Steven,
Ooh.
and mind you, I use friend very lightly with Steven. My friend is like, I'm just gonna start and say the name that I heard the most, Nadia. That felt real personal. Like that started the downhill spiral of
why not Steven? This is what I'm trying to figure out. Man's been on Survivor. You got to go. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get him out the door, which I'm still trying to figure out how y'all let this man slip by the cracks every season. And Survivor is on his forehead. Get him out. I mean, so somebody explain to me how does he get further in the game?
And they tried in season 17. they were trying to go after him.
But
listen, we're focused on this season here, bruh.
I think Steven's proven that he's like a strong competitor, but I think people are also easily manipulated, and me, I'm not easily manipulated. So the fact that Steven was sitting there and like getting everybody to trust him, and I'm like, okay, I think he showed you once, twice, and 3 times now, but let's keep going with it. So eventually, I think people can learn from their mistakes, and they're gonna learn that maybe Steven's not the person we should be letting lead the pack here. Leader of the pack.
Well, I also want to say that
words, no pun intended.
I also want to say what should be pretty self-explanatory is I was sitting on the left and the vote started on the left. So I wasn't the one throwing your name out. I wasn't the one pushing
you were
dying.
You were dying to say my name, Steven.
I really was not.
You volunteered to start. You volunteered.
No, I did not.
Oh.
Okay. Dre said he always starts from the left, and so I knew I was about to vote, and deliberation was about to end. So I wanted to be the one to speak and just say, he was like, all right, 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, and I was just like, all right, guys, I just want to let you know, the most I've heard is Nadia and Clay, so that's where my vote is going.
Steven,
that's what I would say, and then I started the vote, and I was like, okay, well, I'm Nadia and Clay. Because
poor Nadia.
And if you saw in the
don't worry about me.
And Nadia, if you saw in the confessionals, Jordan was the one who was pushing your name. And I just went along with it because we had never had an alliance chat. I was not gunning for you, but I was not going to be like, oh shoot, Nadia's name is out. I got to go run to other groups and figure out another girl name. But
I specifically asked. Wait. Oh? This is the best part.
Okay.
There was a group and Steven was a part of it, and I walked up to them and I specifically asked, like, oh, what names are you hearing? Okay. And then I was like, because Jada had told me that she heard my name. And so I specifically asked, have you guys heard my name? No, I haven't heard your name. And then the first name out of your mouth is Nadia.
So something that I think a lot of Survivor people understand, and I feel like a decent amount of challenge people too, is if you share sometimes, if you hear someone's name, it can be kind of like it did with the whole Xavier thing, misconstrued as you're the one pushing their name. So let's say I'm the one saying like, oh, like I heard Nadia's name and I said that to someone that could have now like went to go tell you, or me saying like, yeah, I heard your name. Like now possibly you could be like, oh no, I need to save myself. Like if Steven's the one saying my name, now let me try to get Steven in. So a lot of times the person that you're planning on voting for, you don't want to tell them that your name is going around because that gives them more time during strategy to possibly push your name as the vote.
Ooh.
I was again not the one pushing for your name, but I knew that I was okay with saying your name if that was going to be the majority, because all the other girl names I was hearing were people that I wanted to protect. So
Steven, I mean, Zay has a question in the chat for Steven, and Clayton's in the chat, and basically Clayton says Survivor players can't stand on business. Welcome, Clayton Wilton Zay. Zay said, Steven, if you wanted to target Clay, why not throw him in the first elimination if you potentially had that mindset to target him in the following round?
That's a great question, and that is a good thing I wanted to bring up. So something that Clay and I had that Zay and I didn't was a conversation. Zay did not talk to me at all about strategy. Maybe said hello when we walked in the night before, but Zay and I never talked. Clay and I at least talked outside the hot tub in the first night, like before the game started, and pretty much our conversation had to do with I pretty much told him like, hey, like he was saying that I'm not targeting you. He was telling me that he's not targeting me, and that was great to hear. But at the same time, I couldn't fully trust him, so I did tell him like, hey, I'm not targeting you, but you're also not one of my close allies. Like I told him point blank, like you're not one of my close allies, but I'm not going to target you. And I didn't. I targeted first Devontae and Zay because they tied the vote and made me throw in 2 people. So now it's already round 2. My 2 first targets I already turned on, and nobody wanted to do Devontae. Nobody wanted to do Zay. So I'm like, all right. And also, after I threw in Zay, when I went back to the lineup, like with all the other people, Clay came up to talk to me and said I told him like, hey, like I threw in Zay because we had that conversation last night and I told you I wasn't going to target you this round. And he was like, okay, well, because you just threw in Zay, does that mean that I'm next? And I was like, no, don't worry. But then I'm like, wait a second. Like, if you're thinking that you're going to be next, like, oh, am I going to be next now that you threw in Zay? Obviously, that shows that you don't trust me anymore because you think I'm going to throw you in next. So I'm like, okay, that trust has been broken. Ooh. Now Clay is going to be like, okay, you just threw in a 17 member. I thought we weren't going to go after each other. Like, now I have the free reign to go after Steven. So I was kind of like, I know he just shared with me that he doesn't trust me, saying, oh, so am I next? So I was like, okay, like now I can't trust Clay.
So essentially what it sounds like is Steven was in a group template still playing for himself, still not understanding why everybody was Team Steven here. Still not getting it, but it's okay.
What do you mean?
Meaning every single word out of your mouth is about protecting yourself.
I'm not no Team Steven, unfortunately.
Are we not trying to protect ourselves? If I think Clay is going to throw me in, should I not be trying to throw him in? I'm confused.
He was not going to throw you in. We had a whole plan.
Well, okay. I didn't know. I can't know exactly what he's thinking, but the fact that he thought that he was going to be next, he was like, "Oh, you throwing in Zay? Does that mean I'm next?" Like
that's
even saying that means I can't fully trust him.
Of course, he's going to think that way.
I'm
just saying, like that. Steven, your mindset in the game really like I don't know, like I don't know. I don't know if it's the survivor tactic of it, but like your gameplay really just confuses me sometimes because like you're saying he came up to you and was like, are you gonna throw me in next? Of course he's gonna think that because you just threw in Zay. So he's thinking like, oh well damn, he just fucked us all over. Like, what are we gonna that's his mindset. So he's not saying,
right.
He's not saying, oh, I'm not gonna trust him. But he's saying like, damn, am I gonna be next? Like we just had a plan. Why would you not go with that plan?
Right, but like somebody who would be thinking game strategy is thinking, oh, if he might possibly throw me in next, that's someone I probably can't trust. I can't read his mind and be like, oh, like even though he said that, he still trusts me. But just saying that, somebody who would be trying to protect themselves, being nervous that someone's about to throw me in next round, would probably target that person. So I'm thinking Clay is now going to want to target me because he thinks that I'm going to target him next. So I just, at that point, I couldn't trust him. And also, like, he was never going to be an ally for me. I just told him I wasn't going to target him in the beginning. And I didn't. That's why I said Zay instead of Clay.
Clay says paranoid and paranoid together. You and I mirror.
I love.
If you think if you think someone's going to target you, you want to target them first. That's how you play a game.
I love Bryce's comment here. That I'm fully able to understand your complex strategy, but he asked where your survivor win was, and then we also got a team hashtag Team Nadia, hashtag Team Madison, hashtag Team Clay, hashtag Team Zay. And then I'm near somewhere in there talking about Steven.
Oh wait, how do I see that?
It should be, if you see on the side it says private chat and the next one says comments. I don't know if you guys can see that. But like, here's the thing. Like, at the end of the day, everybody, and this is something that's in any kind of instance, trust nobody. You can't trust anybody. Everybody's there's gonna be a point, and I think it's something that's even said in the challenge world. I think CT is the one that said it. I'll protect you until I can't protect you no more, and I have to protect myself. Right. So now, to a degree, this is too early for you to be at the point of, I need to, because it makes you look bad. Yeah. It makes you look like you go back on your word. So that's the thing. Like, from what I'm seeing in the chat, I don't know if there was an alliance between you and Clay. I don't know what was going on there.
I had no alliance with Clay.
There was an agreement from the 17 boys that we were not going to go after each other. We were going to try to at least work with each other as long as we can. But you had Zay already thrown in. Now he's getting votes. So it's basically like, that's where we're coming from. Like, we had an agreement, and the agreement was not followed by. Right. Like, the first person that shot was Steven. So we was like, okay, whatever. Like, even though, like, with me and Steve, I don't know, we can't talk about that. But yeah, that was the agreement. We had an agreement.
Spoilers.
Right. So what happened with that is Jason had put together a group chat, and it was a season 17 group chat, and Jason and I had discussed, like, we don't feel comfortable with the season 17 people because they were against us all season long, and we don't know if we can trust them. So Jason had set up this chat so that we can maybe like work together to get a few rounds in. Now, this was never going to be a long-term thing, and I was down to work with 17 for maybe a round or two, but when I got put into power and then
that's all lasted.
I was like, because we knew we were not going to be 17 strong, but we thought, oh, maybe for the first round or two we can work together, and I was totally down for that. But then when it was to the point where I had to throw in 2 people, I'm like, okay, well, now I have to show that I don't trust them, because they threw me in 4 times in season 17 and talked to me not once preseason. They didn't talk to me once preseason, so I don't know why, like, one group chat that I maybe said like one message in made them think, oh, like, Steven's going to be 100% loyal. Like, I need, if somebody breaks trust with me, I need them to build it back up with me, and then I will trust them. So, but if you just like don't talk to me at all, other than like a group chat where we say like one message, like, let's stick together, and that's it, like one day message, like.
I mean, you had enough rookies to pick from, and I'm sorry, I don't mean this to no disrespect to y'all, but you could have easily band together and said, we just gonna stick with the rookies. And for some reason,
he was working with the rookies. Steven was working with the rookies.
I was working with the rookies, Culper,
but what I'm saying, Steven,
Xavier, and Billy.
Choice to further yourself in the game. Plus, we still early on. Even though you working with some of the rookies, you gotta throw some of them in, man. You can't really compromise that, because that can jeopardize your whole game. So I'm interested to see how.
I'm not trying to be vet strong. I'm trying to be alliance strong, like I say in the coming attractions for the next episode. If I'm aligned with the rookies, then I'm going to stick to my word and be loyal to them, and I'm not going to throw them in just because they're rookies.
Even if you are getting thrown in multiple times in a elimination, what is your on a scale of 1 to 10? What's your confidence level of coming back, going into an elimination?
My confidence level is based on my abilities in the challenge. My confidence level is 100% until I see the challenge and realize, like, oh, this is something I'm not good at, and then I'm just going to give it my all. If I come back, that's amazing. And then if it's something that I know I'm good at, my confidence level is very high, and I know I'm going to win, and I just keep telling myself over and over again, and I know I'm coming back. So it really it depends on the challenge. Like, I'm not perfect at everything.
Ben, can I say something?
I know that I'm going to have 100% confidence going to any elimination.
Can I say something really quick? So me, I was the outcast basically because I was one of the last people added to the cast. Fine, we get it. Alternate, yay. So when I came in, I didn't know where I stood with literally anybody really because alliances and everything were all made already. I wasn't part of any of them. So coming into the game during that round, I was still under the impression, okay, maybe I should still trust the people from 17. By that point, Cam and Jason were safe, so they weren't even with us in the deliberation. So when Steven started the vote, he said Clay and Nadia. When I heard Nadia's reaction, that's why I didn't vote for Nadia because I knew that wasn't the case. But then I was like, okay, maybe there's some madness to 17. Maybe and I said this in our group chat, I thought maybe Clay wanted to go into earn crowns for some reason, but I followed Steven. Cam, no, I'm not. Shut up. You weren't even there. You weren't even there.
Bitch, you know what I'm talking about.
Bitch, you weren't even there. You were listening to everybody else, Cam. Cam, you were listening to everybody else. You are not even asking me shit. You weren't even there.
You tell us different stories.
This is that's what happened. I thought that's why else would I vote with Steven, Cam? You could get mad all you want, but you weren't there.
Tell your story. Tell your story.
I'm telling my side. Yes, you could go ahead and interrupt and say your part after. Let me speak.
Tell your story.
So I went ahead and followed Steven. I went ahead and voted with Steven, which then the rest of 17, Amir didn't want to vote for a rookie or anyone else. So he said my name. Then other people started saying my name. Fine. I started accepting the fact that I was going in. That's how it happened in my part. But whatever they were told inside, I don't know what they were told. But I was literally trying to follow Steven because I was like, okay, I didn't speak with anybody from 17 for that deliberation because I was only with Jordan really. So I went following after Steven, which was it the right choice? Absolutely not. It wasn't. I shouldn't have said Clay's name. I do regret that decision. Why? Because it got me thrown in. And I said that I should never have said Clay's name. And I own up to that. And I regret that a lot.
Stevo, you would have gotten thrown in even if you didn't vote for Clay.
I know, but
hold on.
I knew that.
She wants to say something.
My question is, I know you guys had your season 17 alliance, and I know that you came in late, but did one thought in your mind think that if I try to side with Steven, that there would be a whole nother alliance that would come after you because you decided to vote in Clay? Did that ever become a thought in your mind?
It did, but 17, from what I heard going into it, there were two sides of 17. There was the Steven, Amir, and Jason side. Then there was Clay, Cam, and Zay. So I was in the middle of it. So I made
17 that there was a whole season 17 alliance. You all had an agreement. So if you knew that you weren't on a certain alliance or you didn't have a whole team to yourself, what made you think that if I pick a side now, that the other side would not come after me? Did that ever become a thought? That's my question.
No, that did not, because me at that moment, we just had to say a name. So I just went with the first, I wasn't thinking clearly. And yes, and I did regret it. And that was one of my biggest things. I should not have said Clay's name, period, the end. And you're absolutely right, Choice. I should have thought about it more and thought about, hey, why not just say someone else? But I did not.
Personally,
and yes.
If I have an alliance, because I know me and Cameron were dual package, but in a game, it's either I trust one person or I trust none. And personally, if I didn't have an alliance, I would go into the game with, I'm going to vote somebody in who I think I can go up against. Whether I think that they're strong, they're weak, it doesn't matter. I need to vote somebody in who I think that I can compete against them or I can mop the floor with them. End of story. That's just how I feel. So even if you didn't have an alliance, you should have burned that vote. Because in that moment, you chose your side or you chose your side, quote unquote. You didn't have a side. So
see, here's the thing from an outside perspective. As somebody who's just kind of watching, obviously, I see a very edited version and it's very shortened. And I know you guys got a lot to say that's not shown. The biggest thing that I've noticed is there are too many big alliances. And this is a well-known thing. Friends with everybody, you're friends with no one. So that's kind of the situation, and you see that because the minute when you have such a huge alliance, there's no point. You're literally going to have to vote someone in, and that's when you start burning your bridges. I'm kind of always at the mindset, mind you, that's me. I'm obviously not a competitor. I'm not doing this stuff. But for me, if I was playing, my thing would be quality versus versus quantity. And I think right now there's too much quantity and not enough quality in the main parts of those alliances. Because you have like 5 different alliances.
When we built our alliance, it was quality. And I could say that every time Cameron brought somebody in, I was like, I don't trust him. I don't trust him. It was to the day of, before competition started, I was like, I don't trust that one or that one or that one. And then that's when we had, I'm going to spill our tea, I don't care. Mm-hmm. There was the Houston Baddies Alliance. Whether we had our original alliance, at the end of the day, somebody from Houston was going to win. So that's how we felt regardless. Like, you have your core 8, but at the end of the day, it was us against everybody, in my opinion. So you have your quantity, but quality is, I'm going to fight with whoever I'm with at the end of the day, and I'm not going to stake anybody out. I'm going to vote everybody else on the other side, and then we're going to all just compete against each other. Simple.
I mean, there are rides or dies. They're the ones that you ride for, the ones that you go into, like, that you go against the wall for. And there are ones that are kind of outliers. Like, if I have a choice, I won't choose you. But if I don't really have a choice, I'm sorry. I'm going to protect myself and my game. But mind you, it is still early in this case. And I just think there's a lot of alliances with way too many people in it. And that's just kind of what I'm observing. And I might be wrong, because there are the core 8 and the fabulous, there's the ladies, and then there's the guys, and there's 17. It's just, there's so much overlap. They overlap too much.
There was a lot of,
and 17 is the weakest, because you got too many people from 17 going in early on, and I'm just like, they don't know how to stick together.
Well, here's the thing: is it was 17, as I think very similar to a lot of times, is they have grievances with each other. Things haven't been talked out, so you can't really have an alliance with people that you don't really like at the time. Like, and mind you, it could be just we need to have a chat and fucking, hash this shit out, and we'll be fine. But at the end of the day, if you're not able to sit down and have that chat, how am I going to trust you?
That's true.
Like, I don't know you. The last time I saw you, we were ready to, throw blows. Like, we were ready to fucking fight. And I don't understand why now all of a sudden we're besties.
Right.
That doesn't work. So I didn't think 17 was going to be able to stick together, because it just seems like there's a lot of bad blood between the group. Because of what happens on 17. Now, mind you, I feel like I have to go watch 17.
You got to,
because I'm very confused.
You got to.
I mean, it's like if people from 17 who had betrayed me, like, were talking to me a lot before the season, like helping to build that trust back with me, then I would have definitely be down to work with them. But for people who never responded back to me, and the only way we had this season 17 alliance was because Jason threw it together and was like, hey, we should work together. Like, I had no reason to trust them, because they weren't even the ones who started the group chat to try to get this season 17 together. Like,
why didn't you try and reach out to them?
Why didn't I?
Yeah.
Because I didn't trust them. Like, they were the ones who had to build it back with me, because they're the ones who voted me in first. So at that point, like, I don't trust them. If they want me to trust them, they should be coming to me, because I have other people that I want to protect, and I don't necessarily want to protect them. But there's other people that I did make relationships with, that did talk to me, that did strategize with me before the season, in the first round, in like the first night. And those are the people that I wanted to protect. I like to protect people who strategize with me, who talk to me, and show their loyalty to me. And season 17 didn't do that. So I didn't consider that an alliance. I considered that maybe an understanding for the very beginning of the game. And that was it. And that was going to happen. I threw in Devontae. I didn't want to throw in a 17 member, but then with the tie vote and I was forced to pick one more, like, I knew that 17 wasn't a thing. So I was like, okay, I guess unfortunately I have to round 1, like, show that I obviously am not with 17. And I was telling all of my allies that I was not with 17, proving to them that I was going to have their back, and I was targeting them before anybody else. because so far, like, even though maybe it was I guess a big shot to go after Clay early on, but I never had an alliance with him. So like all of my allies that I have, I still haven't said their name, and if I heard their name, I tried to get the vote off of them and onto someone I wasn't working with. So at this point in the game, I'm trying to just not vote for my allies, and not only like burn votes. Like I don't like the burn votes are stupid. Like if I think that one of my allies is going in, I'm gonna try to get one of my non-allies into elimination. I'm not
Well,
just
that makes sense, and obviously we understand where your logic is, but obviously we have two rookies in here who obviously have been watching. So obviously your Nadia, your name was floating around, so that obviously was going to put you into a certain kind of mood. Now, mind you, you two weren't in the vote, but Choice, after, I know we'll probably see this on the next episode, but can you hear them having this fight? Or were you guys like secluded? Like, did you guys have any kind of insight of what's going on?
We were on the other side of the house whenever they were having their deliberation.
Now, mind you, did you think that this was going to be such a big thing because of the discussions? Like, I felt like the entire episode people were having game talk. Like, even before everybody was trying to figure out who was going anywhere, people were talking about the whole situation with Billy and the elimination and alliances and names. And then it just continued. It's like it was a nonstop conversation. So
personally, I feel like, no offense, Steven, but I feel like the other side, because I'm not even going to call them an alliance, because it was a bunch of people just agreeing and handshake.
Yeah, there wasn't an alliance. It was just a bunch of people that kind of were on the same page.
There were targets from that side. They were targeting for myself and Clay. They were targeting from just Clay in general, because they said Clay's name, regardless if I was there or not. They said Clay's name. They were going after him. And when I say, like, them sending people in, personally, they were targeting Clay, and then everybody else, it was just anybody that wasn't on their side. So I feel like there was no strategy whatsoever, except for trying to get Clay out and then picking a girl that was not there, quote unquote. There was no strategy, in my opinion. So when they were throwing people in, people were like, no, don't throw me in, and all that other stuff. Y'all just being defensive, scared to go into elimination. So when Nadia popped her big one, was like, I don't care, I'm coming back. That's some real competitive stuff. You're not afraid to go in and then come back. Everyone else is just like, no, don't send me in, but I did not. Sit there, take your votes, do your big ones, come back, shut up. Simple as that. Sorry.
She said what I wanted to say.
And you, Nadia, do you agree? Is that, like, obviously you were in it?
Like, in that moment, like, all you have to do is just accept it. Like, I didn't go around being like, oh, don't say my name, don't say my name. Like, Jada did come and tell me that she heard my name just to let me know. Or maybe Xavier did. I don't know, one of them, both of them. Listen, it was like a lot to process at once, okay? Anyways, and so I knew it was a possibility, but like nobody was like, I didn't know 100% that was gonna happen. So when that did happen, it did still feel kind of blindsided. But at that point, like, what am I gonna do? Cry about it? Like, now you guys just fucked up. I see your true colors. I see where all of y'all stand, or some of y'all stand. And I definitely don't got your back now. If you thought you were even building anything with me, you fucked up. And now I'm going to go into elimination. And I'm going to show you why the fuck I'm here. And that's what it's going to be. So at that point,
I'm not going to lie. I don't want to see you. Like, I'm not going to lie.
I can't wait.
You're fired.
On that one.
You're fired up.
Yeah, because I love it. I love it. That's what a competitor is. I mean, because from outside looking in, a lot of y'all seem scared going to elimination. And I understand it's a range of things. But the mentality is not there from some of y'all. I'm not going to say all. It's just some of y'all not there. So,
I think it's early. I think it's really early in the game.
If you go into elimination, there's depending on who is better at the challenge at hand in the elimination, there's generally going into it a 50-50 chance you're going to be eliminated. And so if you obviously nobody wants to be eliminated in elimination. If you're in elimination, then you're going to fight to stay in the game. But nobody wants to be just thrown into elimination. So they're going to do it.
You stay
but I'm not going to beg and grovel at your feet not to be put into
that
it.
part.
Oh, yeah, no.
Kiss your ass not to get into it. Because if we're gonna play the game, then let's play the game. That's fine.
Right.
Like,
No, nobody
if that's
should
where
be
you
begging.
stand, but I'm not gonna beg nobody or go feet to feet kissing ass.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't be like, oh, please don't send me in. Like, it should be like, you shouldn't send me in because I can be loyal to you, kind of thing. Like, don't just randomly be like, oh, like, please don't say my name, please don't say my name. But if
Well,
you're
here's the
hearing
thing.
it, you know what I mean?
I'm gonna
But
say your
saying
name.
like, hey, like, I'm gonna work with you, so throwing me in would not make sense. Rather than I just don't want to go into elimination.
That's
But
stupid.
that's something before you discuss before you get into deliberation. That's not a discussion you have on a deliberation floor. At that point, people's minds are already made up.
Mirror.
And so so
Sorry, guys.
I love that. I love that.
so it's so that the thing is having that outright, because I see a lot of people and I get where people are saying, like, there are people who seem like they're like, please don't do this to me, why is this happening, versus having those conversations. And honestly, if you have an alliance, you shouldn't be having that conversation in front of people. You should be having that conversation with your alliance.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. I'm talking
why
about
the
strategy
hell are
portion.
people talking about it in the whole room group of people?
Oh, sorry. I'm talking about the
But
strategy
even
portion. Like before
Go ahead,
deliberation.
Cam.
even before the deliberation, when we have that little 5 minutes to talk, whatever is discussed out there is not the same strategy or gameplay that these people have going into their deliberation. So that's why the audience is looking confused, and even we're looking confused because we just had a talk outside, and when we get in here, it's us bullshit. So
It's totally different.
like it's totally different, and you guys are see. I'm just saying, let me drink my drink. Let me drink my drink.
To drink your tea,
That's
but
what
like,
I'm just saying.
What
I'm
happened?
just gonna be over here sipping my tea.
Yeah,
but
it's really about how you like word it, I guess, during deliberation if you're trying to save yourself. Because there are people who are dead set on voting for these people. And as you can see by a lot of burn votes and people looking worried when they're about to vote, not everyone is decided. So things that are said in deliberation could change the vote. Like, I did not hear Sivo's name at all pre-strategy, and then he ended up getting sent in. I did hear Nadia's during strategy, and she got sent in. So things that happen in strategy could be what happens no matter what, and some things that happen in strategy could not be the vote because of something that happens in
No,
deliberation.
like I don't know about all that, because I think once you're in deliberation, you're already in deliberation. You need to be doing the work outside of it. Like, once you're there, you're making votes. And by the way, everybody's just a fucking follower. Like, nobody wanted to hurt other people's feelings and do all this shit. So
I love it.
so
I love it.
you start saying somebody's name, right? And it's like, well, I'm gonna go with that one too. And the more votes that somebody gets, the more safe somebody else is. So everybody's just tag teaming. Well, I'm gonna say this too. I'm gonna say that too. Like, nobody can have their own original opinions.
Here's a situation, I think, where a lot of frustration comes into it, and this is kind of what Cam alluded to, is you're going to tell me one thing out there, and then you're blatantly lying to me. Right. And then you're saying, I'm voting this way, or I didn't hear this, I didn't do this, when you're the one who's initiating the vote for that particular person. So it looks like you're a snake. You're like, I'm going to lie to your face, and that it just equals the fact that I can't trust you. Maybe it's a survivor thing. I don't know. Or it's like, I know, to me, I'm always one of those people that says, listen, I'm trying to save myself. I heard your name. You're most likely going to be voted in. Like, and that's kind of, but I get also the clandestine where now you're worried because if I do this, then that means I'm a target. But if you have enough alliance members who are already going to vote for that person, you're really just letting them know. Like, yes, I'm hearing your name.
That's us. That's how we voted. Our alliance, we had structure. We were organized.
Except for 1 or 2 people.
Shut up. Anyways, we were organized. So we said a name, and then when we got into voting, we said that name. Simple as that. There was
because that was good because they actually had like their side of things actually had an alliance, or like most of the people in that alliance were like people who were voting with each other every round. Our side, we never had a large alliance. We were just all individual people who had individual relationships with the same people. So it was a lot harder to like communicate a specific vote. And that's why a lot of people who were aligned with us were doing a lot of burn votes, because they were making individual deals with random people. Like, for example, I was really trying to get Clay thrown in that time to help protect Xavier. In round 2, I was trying to get Clay put in, and a lot of people in my alliance was not down for it because they had talked to Clay and kind of promised him that they would not say his name. So meanwhile, they're working with me. They're not going to say my name, but they're not necessarily going to vote with me because they also have their own alliances. And that's kind of how Clay didn't have majority, because people who were aligned with me still didn't want to vote with me. They just weren't going to vote for me.
And that,
so when y'all called us in the first time, y'all were like, choice and Clay, choice and Clay, choice and Clay.
I was in the Tetra.
It's not even in the Tetra, because you can be in the Tetra and still talk to your alliance on who you're going to vote for. That's what, we did. But
we didn't have time.
Second time, who threw him in the first time? I'm not worried about myself. Who threw Clay in the first time? Let's clock that T while we're here.
In what do you mean, the first deliberation?
Yes, the first deliberation.
I don't remember who voted for who. I was in the Tetra.
Oh, now we got amnesia. All right, I tried to clear it up, Clay, because apparently nobody know who voted for who. If you want to know if I voted for you, I did. How about that? Next question, please.
There she goes. She
Are we allowed to address? Are we allowed to address the chat while we're here? Because Amir is real salty about my comment earlier. Yeah. Mind you, he's talking about the first episode. I said my vote's gonna align with Jada. First of all, it's not that my vote's gonna align with Jada because like I came into the game with her. My vote's gonna align with Jada for the reason, and the very clear reason that I gave after my vote, which you can see on screen if you would like to go back to episode 1 and replay it. So don't try and call me a fucking follower, because we got follower number 1 up in the chat talking shit.
I was gonna say Amir is going off in the chat. He fighting. But
Amir, stop, Amir, stop.
Enough. Like stop. Like every single time you say something in the chat, I'm coming for you. 3 times. Enough.
I mean, yeah. If you
Nadia
guys see
has some of the
something,
best confessionals though. I love Nadia's confessionals.
Nadia, stay ready. But but at the end of the day, here's the situation. It's very messy. It's obviously getting very personal. At the end of the day, and I feel like it's going to be great for the show. But I don't know how well it's going to end up with everybody's relationships after this.
I don't know why things are getting so personal, because, it's just a game. At least that's how I see it.
I love it, Stephen. If we ever on this season together.
Well, it's because you care. That's the thing. Everybody cares about the show. They want to be good and they want to win.
I want to do good at the show. But at the same time, if someone, betrays me because it like benefits their game or something, like in the game I will be upset, but like personally, like I don't care. I know it was just part of the game.
Mm-hmm. And I'll never work with them ever.
And like same with people who just aren't in your alliance in the first place. Like if you're not working together, then that just means that you didn't have strategy talks. You guys didn't decide to work together, and then so it shouldn't be personal. It should just be you're on opposite sides of the game, and it's best for your game for them to be out of the game. And then, I mean, that's how I.
Well, it's definitely sometimes how you approach it. When you approach it in a certain way, it becomes very aggressive. I've noticed that where situations where it, and then you see that in any kind of competition show. You start getting real. It gets real, hurt your soul a little bit. When you hear certain things or see certain things. But if it's a situation like you said, you have bad blood with people because they voted you in, technically that's personal. You took that with you from that season into this season, and you said, I'm cool, and if I can, I'll try, but otherwise I'm fucking throwing your ass in. Like that.
Well, that's not really personal. That's game, because you don't trust them, because they have been untrustworthy in the past. and you didn't build that trust back. So that just means that in a game relationship, you guys might not be able to work together. But personally, like outside, I feel the way I think of personal is like out of the game, like if because something happened in the game, you don't like that person anymore outside of the game. Like all the people who have targeted me in any game that I play in, I'm still like cool with them outside the game, but I just think it shouldn't be personal. It should be just game. Like in the game, if you don't trust somebody, don't work with them. But then outside of the game, it shouldn't really matter.
I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I think we need to move forward. At this point, I think we've kind of stuck on this conversation for a little bit too long. But I guess we've kind of hit it because at the point, this is basically it. This entire episode is mostly just figuring out and kind of getting everybody's feelings on the situation. But do you guys have any final thoughts, any final words? I don't know if you guys seen the episode, how you feel about the whole situation. Just
all I gotta say is, if y'all haven't seen the Tetra, y'all pay attention to every name that is said. Who says those names? Pay attention, okay? That's all I gotta say. Clock that tea.
I just want to say that for this deliberation and for this elimination, no vets was supposed to touch the elimination. So yeah, it's crazy how we had a plan, and I set a plan for everyone to follow. And when y'all got in that deliberation, it was like all hell broke loose. I was trying to save us. Like I was just I didn't want to work.
You did your best, Cam. We saw it.
Like, can I say something? So I do want to say, like, one thing though, even from 17 with Cam, he'll say it as it is. And sometimes I feel like people are afraid to address him, but yet he'll say things and it's like he's speaking it and speaking real shit out to people, but then no one wants to address him about it. Like, you're going to see later on, Cam is going to say stuff and you're just watch people's reactions. It's like no one wants to listen to him, but yet I should have took my own advice and I should have listened more to him. I should have listened more to Cam and I didn't. But
for future seasons,
listen to Cam. Yes.
To Steven's point, really quickly, I'm not going to be friends with anybody outside of the house that I can't trust inside of the house. What do you mean we're all kiki haha? We get inside the house and you want to go stab me in the back? Like, no.
Yeah, no, I don't mean be friends, but I just mean like not hate them for something that happened in the game. You don't have to be friends with them, but there's no reason to like hate someone for something that happened in a game and feel like, oh, like you targeted me because you don't like me as a person. Like, no, you got targeted because you just couldn't trust that person.
It's not about being targeted. Like, the game is the game, but it's still real life. Like, we're still real people, like humans, you know, like we make our own decisions. And so it's about what people say and how they act and those types of things. It's not about who put me into elimination or who targeted me is the reason I'm not going to like people outside of here. It's your personality. I get good and bad vibes. And if you are a shitty person inside the game, you're still a shitty person outside of it.
I can say that's not true, because personally, Steven, love you down, Steven. He is two different people inside and outside of the game. Personally, Steven inside the game, he is a whole different personality. You need to come with the alter ego. Like, we need that ASAP. Outside, Steven is like the best, the coolest person ever. So I can agree to disagree with that one. There's very few.
Steven's blushing, Choice. Calm down. He's blushing.
No, but I feel that I felt the same way about Choice. Like, Choice and I were never really on the same page in any season we were on. But then when the rounds were over and it was nighttime and we were hanging out, like, Choice is so much fun to hang out with and such a great person. So it's like you could still not be aligned with someone who you like, and so.
We're gonna need that alter ego name by the end of the night, though, because I don't know what it should be. He is a whole other person. But yeah, I have to agree to disagree, because there's very few people who I'm just like, I don't like them inside or outside the game. And Steven's not one of those people for me personally, in my opinion. But there are some people, and we will clock their teeth later.
Further down the season, bookmark that. But okay, so I think we're all set. Rob, did you have anything you wanted to address? I feel like all of my questions have been answered just
Look,
by the conversation that y'all had on your own.
yeah, I loved it. I loved it all, y'all. I look forward to the rest of the season for sure. I do. I'm hoping that y'all my mentality can change because it's got to be there. Because I see a lot of scared people that don't want to go into elimination. I understand it. You got strategies, so forth, so on. But the
It's
mentality.
early, Rob.
It's
Nobody
early.
wants to be the second one in elimination. Nobody
And
wants to be the first.
but
Besides me and
they
Nadia, right?
get ready.
Well, I'm not saying that you can't get voted. I'm just saying nobody wants to be that person.
It's okay. We'll find out. You may or may
I
not
can-
see me again on here. I don't know. We're gonna find out.
It's in the
We'll
mentality.
see you either way.
not-
I feel like you guys have a lot to say.
It's not that people are scared of going to elimination. It's just like
What you say, Cam?
like Becky said.
Wait,
it's
Cam?
way too early to go. I was saying like most people are not scared to go into elimination, but when it's the first and second round, it's way too early to go in, especially with this season because there's 4 winners. You're trying to pick your team, so you don't want to like send that person in or you want to go in because you can go home. You're basically trying to build your team at the end. So it's not that you're scared. It's just way too early to be going into elimination, especially the first and second round. Like you gotta at least make it to day 2.
Yeah, at least day 2.
Like, God damn, I want to at least do a couple of these dailies.
Right. So,
Trying to run in this heat.
so it is hot.
Also,
So hopefully y'all had enough water and hydration and everything. But y'all, it's been real. It's been fun. I can't wait till next week. I can't wait to see this elimination round. I can't wait to see what Nadia does. I can't wait to see what Sibo does. I'm just excited. So I'm
you guys want to give your socials? Do you guys want to put yourselves out there?
Yeah, so something I just want to say first beforehand is I'm glad that this episode was able to, for some things that some people didn't trust if I was being truthful or not, it did like show proof. For example, the whole Xavier thing of like that I did not say Xavier's name, that I said exactly what I said in deliberation, that I heard Xavier's name, but I do not want to vote Xavier. That was actually shown, that conversation. So I'm glad it showed that. And the fact that I was not the one throwing out Nadia's name and that it was Jordan was shown also in the episode. I'm glad that also got cleared up. And I just want to say in terms of alliance, I also want to say in terms of
Yep. Like I said, because she could get it too. She can. Because I said nice things after I threw my vote. My vote was harmless, but that's okay. Anyway.
I also do want to say something about just alliances in general. Obviously in the first episode, and everyone just knows this from seeing the first episode and seeing that I was talking about protecting a lot of people. I do have a lot of allies, and it did show that, but it showed that I was working with half the cast. That does leave the other half of the cast as people that I am not working with and people that I will vote for and target before any of my allies. So it's okay to have a lot of allies to help protect you, but that just means that the people that you're not working with, you need to make sure to get them out and protect your allies. And that's what I do. The people who I have alliances with, who I strategize with, who I constantly say I'm loyal to them and have their back, I will always be having their back and be targeting the people that I do not have these alliances with. And in this season, I have only targeted the people or voted for the people that I'm not working with. So I know people might say that I'm a disloyal person, but the people I'm not working with are generally the people who are saying that. The people who know that I have their back are the ones that are saying that I am a loyal player, and the people who want to work with me in future seasons. So that's all I'm going to say.
Right now, it looks like that's only Amir, though.
Alliance.
I don't mean like defending me now. I mean like in game. They're going to stay loyal to me because they know I'm going to be loyal to them.
You can have allies, but y'all aren't on one accord. So I would say have your allies, and if you're working with many people, at least get on one accord, even if they don't know about each other. So then when you do get into voting and deliberation, you can at least have some type of consistent type of voting. And it not just be a lot of burn votes and not just be voting everywhere, but just one place. All I gotta say is personally for me, because I know we're supposed to do closing statements. Y'all can follow me at its.choice. And as me as a player, I'm a very by the book kind of girly. So if you see me sitting back observing, it's because I'm observing everyone. And if I give you my word, that's just that on that. And if anybody says that they lied or I lied, that's a lie. Y'all have a good night.
Love it.
She called that tea. Hold on.
Did.
You can find me on socials, Instagram, ridiculously Cam, and that's it. I just want to say last remarks. I'm just a real ass bitch, and I'm gonna keep it real.
Period. All right, next.
Love y'all all, but I just came from work and then I gotta go to work dumb early in the morning. So that's my closing statement: is that I'm wrapping this up and I'm gotta
go to bed.
Bye. See you guys maybe again. Peace out.
She said bye. You guys could just find me on Instagram, Sivo the Swizz. And yeah, that's it really. And keep watching.
All right, last but not least.
Yes, you guys can get me on Instagram at StephenLupo9. And I also have for any of you Survivor fans, I have a Survivor podcast called the Tribal Lines Podcast. And on Instagram, that's at tribal_lines_pod. And on YouTube, it's Tribal Lines Podcast. Definitely check that out. You can see a lot of recaps and me deep diving into the episodes and what happens every week. So definitely check that out and subscribe, comment, watch, like everything. And if you want some Survivor content. So thank you all. Thank you guys for having me on. And definitely keep watching the season. It is constantly, every episode is just amazing. And Dre's really excited about it. And I know what happens in the future episodes. It's going to be good. So definitely watch.
Thank you for everything. Your candor, you were very upfront, and we appreciate that. You took everything really well. So we appreciate that going forward. Everybody who was on the show, I know they all took off because they got to go, and I get that. So much love to everybody who was on the episode today. And yeah, love this. It's fun.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. It's definitely a delight to talk to y'all, especially it's good to see the dynamic and the drama. I'm just loving it all. You can reach me at For the Love of the Challenge on Instagram, YouTube, on everything. Gift Master Becky, how can we get in touch with you, girl?
It's Giftmaster Bex on Twitter. I was like, get it right, bro. How long have we been doing this together?
Oh, wow.
Get it together. A long ass time. Feel like it's forever. But Giftmaster Bex on both Twitter and Instagram. So yeah, hit us up if you guys want to, see us more. You can see us on that podcast where we cover the challenge, All Stars, and also the flagship.
And I'm so sorry to add one more thing, but I also host a mini org, a one-day game on Zoom called Steven Survivor. If anybody wants to play a Survivor game online where you strategize in breakout rooms, there's challenges every round for immunity. It's so much fun, and the winner wins over $100. So definitely, if you're interested in playing a Survivor game online, hit me up on Instagram at StephenLupo9, and we'll get you casted.
And with that said, everybody, you have a good night, and see you next week for recap number 3.
Yep. See you guys.
All right.